Hi, welcome or welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I will be sewing Mccall's 8211. So if you see, it is kind of like the halter top with the back out a little bit and the tiered skirt. So for this pattern, there is a lot of basting and gathering for the skirt, but I think it's good practice for like sewing in a straight line and things like that. Also, you have the lining piece for the bodice. You also have to do a little gathering on the sides as well. It does have an invisible zipper on the back, so I know that's my Achilles heel. I still have to practice on that some. And also you do have to slip stitch the waist. But basically you have to hand sew that part of it. It's not a hard sew, I would say, but it is very time consuming. And I think that's all. I could have probably gone down one size for the bust area because it is like a little loose, but if I tie it pretty tight around my neck, then it's okay. And oh yes, I just want to say a big thank you for everyone who comments, likes, and engages with me in the comment section. It's very much appreciated. I see you. So thank you for that. Okay, so like always, I'm gonna just go ahead and start putting my pieces together. I have the bodice front piece and I'm gonna attach the two bodice side pieces to the sides. And does anyone pin slow like me? I've noticed since I've been editing the videos. So I'm going to take the lining pieces, the front and the back, and just like I did the bodice, sew along here as well. So now that I have the bodice front and bodice back sewn together for the main and lining section, I'm going to go ahead and baste along the sides for the front and the back midriff. So now I have based on the sides, the front midriff piece, and then the pattern says to make it the same length as pattern number 3. So what I'm going to do, just to help me out, I'm going to pin it. So then I'm going to take 2 of the threads and from my basting row, and I'm just going to pull and gather it on in. Just stretching it across, and I'm putting on a little more just to make sure. So, okay, it looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So with right sides together, I'm going to take the back pieces of the midriff and attach it to the sides. If I can find it. Oh man, I can barely find the notches, but if I did it right, it should be should be even. Look at there. That one came out pretty good, so it's pretty even. Okay, so I'm going to take the machine and stitch right here, and then I also did the same for the lining pieces. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the bodice piece. So I'm going to take the bodice and then the midriff that I just sewed and find my notches. Oh. Okay, find my notches. And pin along the way. And so the same thing that I'm doing for the bodice piece right here, I'm also going to do it for the lining part. Okay, so I'm going to go sew this, and then like I said, I'm going to sew the lining piece as well. Okay, so now I'm going to set the bodice piece to the side, and this is pattern piece 8. I'm going to work on the skirt portion. So, yeah, first off, you need to have your right sides together. I'm going to pin, finding my notches. And then I'm also going to do the same thing to the other side. I will be leaving one side open, and this is for the back of the dress. And then while I'm at the machine also, I'm going to do a gathering stitch along the top edge of it. Okay, so now I have sewn pieces 8 together, and then for the side that I left open previously, I need to pin and stop at this dot. Okay, so I'm going to stitch up here and leave this opening for the zipper part. Okay, so this is also pattern piece 9, and this is a part like of another tier of the skirt. So I'm also going to open it up and find my notches, but this time I'm going to close it up to make it like one big circle. And so for this one, I'm going to pin here as well to close it up. So I'm not going to leave an opening like I did for the top part of the skirt. Whew, okay, so now that we have it all together, I'm going to go and stitch here and then stitch here as well. And then for the upper edge, I'm going to stitch along 2 gathering stitches, just like I did pattern 8. So I'm going to do this for pattern piece 9 and 10, and then I'll meet you back here. So I have pattern piece 8 and pattern piece 9, and my 9 is on the wrong side. So on the inside it shows the right side, and then pattern piece 8 I have the right side showing. So I'm going to stuff pattern piece 8 to the inside. So my back seam is right here where I have that opening for my zipper, and then I have another seam right here for pattern piece 9. So I'm going to connect these. So this dot, I want to match it up with this seam. Okay, I wanted to do a quick video to show how to gather the fabric because I don't think I explained it really well, or that you could see it in the footage. So as you can see, I have a smaller piece, and then I have a piece that's a little longer that I have done 2 rows of basting stitches. So basically I'm going to pin So if you can see, I have a lot of slack here. I don't know if that's the right term, but that's what I'm going to call it. So basically I want this piece to be the same length as this one. So I'm going to take 2 of my basting stitches And then I'm just going to pull on the thread. And as you can see, it's kind of gathering. Then I'm just going to slide it down. And as you can see, some of that slack is going away. Put on a little more. I may have put it too much. Okay. So now you see that it is all together. There's no slack. And then you can just pin across here. So now that I have pattern piece 8 and 9 all together, I'm going to go and sew around. Now I am gathering pieces 9 and 10 together. So that is the middle tier and the bottom tier of the skirt. Five hours later, I finally have it all gathered and pinned and stuff. So I'm going to take it to the machine and sew it all together. Okay, so I finally finished the skirt pieces, so it's all together. So now I'm going to attach the bodice piece to the skirt. So I should have 2 dots in the front, and with the right side to right side, I'm going to match it up as best as I can. Alrighty, and then you know what I'm about to do next. Gathering time. So I would definitely say this is a project if you want to learn how to gather, that this would be a great project to help you with that. Because I have gathered so much that if I never gather again, I will be alright. Okay, so now I have the bodice attached to the skirt, and then I'm going to move on to my zipper. Now this pattern calls for an invisible zipper, and I'm still working on those, so we're going to see how this one comes out. I'm gonna go sew, and I'm gonna do a base and stitch first to see, and then I'm gonna do the other side just like that, so kind of matching it down. And if I do it correctly, then you should just be able to see the pull and not the teeth. So let's see. Okay, so I completed my invisible zipper. That's not so invisible, but I'm still working on the invisible zipper. So now I'm going to attach the bodice lining to the bodice piece. So with right sides together, I'm going to match the seams. And if I'm understanding step 58 correctly, I am to stitch right here, and then go like this. So I'll just stop stitching right here, and then pick up right here and go across to help form my casing. if I'm understanding that step correctly. So we shall see. So for the strap piece, I've already sewn it together. It should have been two, so I've sewn it together to make one, and then just right sides together. And then I'm also going to make sure to leave an opening so I can turn it later. So now that I have sewn the lining piece to the bodice piece and I've understitched and pressed, I'm going to turn it to this side, the inside, and then I need to fold like my seam allowance and slip stitch the excess to the zipper tape. I need to hand sew this part down as well to cover up this seam, the main seam of the bodice piece. So I'll do that off camera. The next thing to do is to do the stitching line, which I think my dots have kind of disappeared, but I kind of see it right there. So I need to do this, make a line going across here to create my casing for my loop. And so I'll string the loop through, and the next clip should be me wearing the dress. So let's see. This was definitely a labor of love. And then I paired it with a pop of color with the orange shoes. So let me know what you think. And like always, be blessed.